Okay, so no risks this time, no risking the intro song, and we're going straight in full serious and cut to the chase. So we're here looking at the new Rabbit agent, right? So this is the first competitor to come out of the United States against Manus and now GenSpark. Yep, it's called GenSpark. So GenSpark just released earlier today, and this one's releasing now, or both very, very recently. And obviously GenSpark is the second AI agent, and we're talking about no code AI agents, right? So it's like go to a website type access, no code, no setup, no installs. You just rock up to the website and give the agent the task and see what it's got. So we're going to be mainly focusing on this RabbitOS, even though I've just received access to Manus, but we're going to be looking at RabbitOS only in this video. So this is the website here. It's rabbit.tech, and it's free accounts for now, and you get 3 chats. It says you get 3 chats a day. So you go to rabbit.tech, you click try for free, then you make an account, and then you jump into the account, and then you be in here. And so we're going to use some of my pre-prepared prompts that I use to test AIs, or that I use to test agents rather. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to select from some of these here. So what are we going to do? We're going to, so we only get 3, it says you get 3 chats, right? It says you get 3 chats. Where does it say this? Yeah, so R1. So if you have their hardware, you get 9 chats per day. Everyone else gets 3 new chats per day. So that makes, so I haven't used this yet because I wanted to do it on the video, and so that we can explore it together and trial it. And you guys can see if it, like, you know, rather than just finished products, see if it runs into errors and things like that. And I don't know whether this 3 chats is going to be literally 3 inputs, or whether it's actually 3 separate chats, because you guys know from using other AIs, on a single chat, you can talk on and on and on and pivot into different things and stuff like that. So we'll see. We're about to find out. But what are we going to start with? So let's take a look. We're going to skip past this really basic one that I typically ask all AIs, the who are you? We're going to skip past that. It's too simple. We're going to jump straight to this one here. And by the way, I've set up a column over here, so we'll be able to fill this in as we go. So list your capabilities and demonstrate each of them with a very simple example. Let's go. This is going to be chat number 1. And this is all in real time, obviously. Okay, it says it's waiting for my response. So I can do many tasks. Here's my main capabilities with a simple example. So, okay, so this has done a similar thing to what I've noticed most AIs do, where the examples. So notice that in my prompt, I said demonstrate each of your capabilities. I didn't say give me an example of the capability. I said demonstrate it, right? So it's kind of failed already a little bit here, where it hasn't actually. Grok actually did a better job of this, even though it's not an agent, right? So Grok is not strictly an agent, or it's not far down the spectrum of agency, but it actually did a better job of actually attempting to perform little simple demonstrations of what. So say, for example, just like coding and code execution or software development, Grok will actually write some code, right? And say, here's a little example, like here's a demonstration of my ability to write code. Whereas this has just given an example of what it could do when it's writing code. See the subtle difference? So this is not as hardcore, but maybe if I prompted it a little bit more specifically, it would actually go and do that. So anyway, it's listed a bunch of stuff. This is all pretty standard these days for agents to be able, lots of them can do research and information gathering, even if they're not strictly an agent. data analysis and processing, that depends on, so a true agent will be able to use various data sources, including your own local custom data, whereas obviously this one's a cloud AI agent. So it depends. Even the cloud ones theoretically you could still provide them with access to your own custom data sets. But we've got that. But these are, generally speaking, standard file generation and manipulation. I'd like to see how it does this without having access to your. So it must be doing it on its own VM, where it's actually saying that it can actually create and manipulate files, text, CSVs, images. Okay. Yeah. From that example, it sounds like it's just that could be a pretty basic thing where it's just generating the file for you to, and you've probably seen this on various AIs where after it does the task, it's got a file that you can download, and it's just the delivery mechanism. It's like you could have just put it in the, so say you use an image generating AI, and instead of it just showing you the image on the screen and you being able to like save it, it has a little file that you can download, right? It sounds here like from this example that this would be a bit like that, which is not as hardcore as it could be in terms of actually having a workspace, which is, by the way, RooCode, when you're using RooCode with VS, it actually creates files locally within its workspace, which is possibly more hardcore than this, but that's all right. Look, I don't want to sound too critical. We're just trying to look for anything that demonstrates really solid level of agency here. Data visualization. Again, that's going to depend on how hardcore its ability to access different data sets is. Because strictly speaking, or like technically, nearly every AI you've interacted with can basically do everything we've listed so far. Reporting. Support for various domains. Assist with tasks in different domains. I think that this is talking about domains of expertise. Like this is, finance, travel, technology. So look, this list does not have me excited yet. There's going to be a lot of it depends, right? It depends on this sort of stuff. So let's go back to the prompt. Oh, and it says it's waiting for my response. What, did it ask me a question? Oh, please let me know if you'd like me to demonstrate one of these capabilities with a specific example or provide more information. Okay, so at least it is offering to do a sort of a more detailed demonstration. We're actually going to go back to the list and say, this one's a bit of a research task, so most AIs actually do easily handle that. You know what? Okay, we'll give it, because this is sort of like a more detailed version of what we just asked, with a bit more specific, right? So this says probe your own capabilities for web access, awareness to up-to-date information, coding, including execution, local storage, read, write, blah. So this ties in pretty well to what this chat is already about. So we're going to give it this. Oh, whoa. It didn't copy properly. Cool. Okay. So yeah, probe your own capabilities. These are the critical things that I like to see an agent be able to do. Like, so web browsing, awareness of up-to-date information, coding, local storage. Obviously, that's going to be local to its environment. So that's okay. It doesn't need to be local to my environment. It's just the ability for the AI to be able to create files, because that's pretty important. So so this is actually a pretty basic list. I used to have a lot more in this list. Even I used to even have its ability to do quite extended things. I've obviously simplified this prompt down, and then it says use existing tools that you have access to, then search for possible extensions before writing any custom code. Oh yeah, okay, that's more for like RooCode type stuff, but it's all right. I like to use generic prompting. Not generic, but you know what I mean. Like, as in, I like to use similar prompts across AIs to really test it out. And okay, yep, cool. You'll notice that the way this is worded is probably more aimed at something like RooCode, but we're just going to hit it anyway. In a sense, it's the same question. I'll start by evaluating my current capabilities related to web access coding and local storage. So I can perform web searches, access real-time information. However, I'm trained up till October 2023. Bruh. That's over a year ago. What? You know, I've seen that exact date before when I've been talking to AIs. So there must be an AI that these systems typically use that is the same one, because obviously you know for its training cutoff to be that same end point. So anyway, but look, if it's got access to the web, I prefer using a brain that has a more recent cutoff date, so it doesn't have to rely so. Because imagine if anything within the last year and a half, it has to rely on searching the web for, rather than it just being in its knowledge base, is not ideal. But look, they're probably going to update it. It's still in beta or whatever. I can write code. I have the capability to create, read, write, edit files. Okay, we're still not getting anywhere on seeing. Let's go back to the prompt list and see. No, this is about setting up agents. We won't do that because it's like these environments, when they're these web-based agents, they're obviously not, they're more rigid in terms of how they're set up. You're not going to be able to ask it to set up for you another agent. Whereas when you're local, you can actually get an agent to set up an agent. So pretty much all of these ones are going to be not relevant. That's another research task. Okay, you know what? We'll hit it with the Tangang meme. We'll hit it with the... What are we going to do to like... Okay, so we'll... You know what? We'll make this more generic. No, you know what? Whatever. We'll do a Tangang meme. So we'll go and we'll see if it allows us to pivot within this chat. So the Tangang is a, sort of a small community that likes oranges on the internet. So it's planning the generation. But basically we want to, you know what? We might actually give it a research task and see if it has the ability to show us what it's doing. Because that's one thing I'm really interested with Manus, is that you get to see what the AI is actually doing. So creating a task. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're starting to see some level of agency here where it's creating its own workflow, right? It knows it needs to research what a Tangang meme is, to understand the style, humor, and common themes. Researching. So by the way, while it's doing that, we'll go over, because in a short video that I just made that won't be getting uploaded to this channel, I actually showed GenSpark's attempt to create a meme, and then I talked about its research, and then I didn't actually show the meme, right? So in this video, we'll actually show it. So actually, we can do this side-by-side comparison, right? So this, with the same prompt, this was create a banger Tangang meme, and telling it a bit more about the community. It went and searched the Tangang, found out what it was about, went and looked up existing memes, which are these ones here about oranges and that, and then it created this as its meme. This was the final product. Orange you glad, drang your whole. So it almost came up with something clever. It's got orange, it's got orange juice, it's got the Tangang here, I thought it would have been cool if these had been mogs, Like if these had been pit vipers rather than just regular glasses, or maybe Thug Life glasses or something like that would have been cool. And then if this text had been a bit more like funnier or appropriate, or just made a bit more sense, it's kind of like, I don't even know. Like maybe it makes sense. But anyway, in fact, my credits have actually. You know what? We will do a comparison video. So. Because what's cool is my credits, I've got new credits. You get new credits every day. So both of these are free, by the way. That's important to note. Both of these are free currently. So you can go to, I don't know whether they just let everyone have access to Manus, or whether I just got lucky today and got the access to Manus. But with these two, everyone currently has free access, but it's just limited. This one has, I think it's 200 or 300 credits a day on GenSpark, and on obviously over on Rabbit. We're just going to bring these together like this. Over on Rabbit, it's 3 chats. So let's go and see. And by the way, that's cool because we'll be able to bounce between them while one's thinking. We can go and be looking at the output of the other one. So let's give GenSpark something to do. Let's give it this one. Probe your own capabilities. Right, so back over to GenSpark, we give it the probe. By the way, I turned off all the filtration, so now everything's real time. I decided to just go raw with the audio and the visuals, and because I thought if the filtration is not doing a perfect job, then it's just not worth having it turned on. But hopefully, it might get better over time. So here's saying so this is moving quite quick. This is thinking through and moving seems like it's moving a little bit faster. But by the way, with an agent, in my opinion, the whole point is ultimately the holy grail is that it can actually go off by itself and do stuff, i.e. you're not going to be there watching it do it, right? The whole point is the autonomy. So I would rather a slower, more accurate agent than one that looks like it's like, oh, this is quicker. If it's less accurate, then it's not as good, right? The point is you're going to be at the beach, so you don't care whether it takes 15 minutes or 5 hours. With a limit, obviously, because if it starts to get to a point where it takes like over a day or something to do a task, then it's a problem, because you want to be able to unless you're able to run concurrent agents, which by the way some of these are at least talking about if they can't already do. So you've got, can you run concurrent agents? Can your agent take control or launch other agents underneath it, right? And can any of the agents run concurrent tasks? These are three very different things that sound similar, right? So the ultimate one is you have an agent that can spawn other agents, and every single one of those agents, including the master agent, can all do multiple things at once. They're not limited to a linear workflow. They can open up multiple browsers and things like that. Or what would appear to a human to be that it's doing it concurrently, even if strictly speaking, only one thing is it depends. It depends on what kind of hardware you've got and what kind of software you've got. But you get what I'm saying, that it would have. Oh, so this thing's. Which one's this? This is GenSpark. I thought it was coding, but it's not. It's just. Oh, whoa, GenSpark doing something. I almost said a word. So, GenSpark took this much more seriously. I'm pumped we're doing this side-by-side comparison, right? And I'm especially excited to actually have access to some of these things where it's these no-code solutions. Because I've spent over 3 weeks, full-time hours over 3 weeks, apart from small breaks to do other things and sleep, obviously, to with ones where the majority of what I'm doing is trying to build the AI agent. So very sort of a disproportionately small amount of that time was actually in an attempt to get the AI agent to actually go and do stuff. That was only really when I'm testing, and then it's like back to building and back to like debugging and things like that. So the majority of my time has been spent building and debugging, whereas with these no-code web-based solutions, you just jump on and it's sort of less stressful because they either do it or they don't do it. And if it doesn't do it, you're just like, oh, well, I have to wait to see if they make it better later, because you don't have any control over the actual way that the AI is set up, coded, what its capabilities are, what tools it has access to through MCP or anything like that, right? So you're at the so obviously it's the gift and the curse, right? It means that you don't have as much control over being able to do cutting edge stuff that it actually advances and do cool stuff and customize it. However, it also means that you literally, every time you're spending time doing it, you're actually running tasks rather than trying to fix bugs. So this is actually really exciting for me to be doing this. And also it means that you can do it live on a video and it's not boring for the user, for the viewer, sorry. Right, so let's see what GenSpark has come up with, or do we give Rabbit a task to work on while that is actually still working. Okay. Rabbit's still working. I want to kind of keep them on a similar task so that I don't have to keep, whatever. So I'll explore my capabilities in the areas that you've requested. It has taken this very seriously. Web access. By the way, it's still working. I really like it when AIs show you what they're doing. I really like being able to see like what they're coding. So that's why RooCode, I'm still a big fan of RooCode. I'm going to keep using it. I think it's amazing. So RooCode has, in fact, do we have that open? No, but so RooCode, you see the terminal and you see the area where it can code, like the whatever file it's modifying the code of, and it has a side-by-side comparison of if there is existing code and what has changed. So you're getting this really good insight into what the AI is actually doing. It's a bit like this, right? Where it's got very similar to this, where you've got your chat over on one side. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't be pointing at the screen. I should be doing this. So your chat over here, and then what it's doing over here. But with RooCode, it's split up with, you've got two, because you can see it's got your computer terminal as well. So this is writing code. I think this looks like it's creating a website. Oh yeah, preview code thinking. I'm already impressed by this, just by the way that it's trying to do a lot more to demonstrate its capability. By the way, I haven't given it another prompt yet. This is hands off, right? I just gave it that one prompt. And that's the same prompt that I gave Rabbit. I was really, man, I had the US flag out. I was ready to Team America. I was ready to Team America the thing, but look, it does look like so far. You know what? We're not going to call it early. We've got some testing to do before we run out of credits and whatnot. So, in fact, you know what? With this GenSpark one, this is probably going to smoke all the credits in this one prompt. I can predict just purely by how much detail it's going into. I suspect that what they've done with GenSpark is, say on a day they give you 300 credits. If the task that you ask for, it requires more than that number of credits to complete the task, it allows you to just run over, and they don't, because imagine if you're trying to see how awesome this thing is, and like halfway through the task, it's doing whatever it's doing, and then it's like, sorry, ran out of credits. Users would just get frustrated and that sort of thing. So I think this one task would have certainly gone over the credit amount. So we're only going to get this one thing. So this will be the one thing that we compare against the other AI. Pardon me. So, okay. So what's it basically? It's the first thing it wanted to do. So it showed that it can use a tool to search for latest tech news. It showed that it can use a tool to read the website. It showed that it can use a tool to capture the screen. So it wasn't showing us as it went and browsed the web, which is something I really like from the Manus demos that I've seen. Although maybe there's maybe a button somewhere where you can be like, show me your browsing, right? So it took a screenshot and then it says it fetched the latest stock data in real time. So that was just an example for it to show that it's got access to real-time data. Up-to-date information awareness. Coding and execution capabilities. It used Python to generate these graphs. And let me try this. I'm impressed by this. So notice how some AI, because I specifically asked for a simple demonstration, some AIs will go, yep, I've done a simple demonstration, tick, task complete. This is more human. This is like, because think of the AI agent. It should be like an employee that's really trying to impress you. This is someone that's just started working for you, and they want to. So they shouldn't just be delivering. Ideally, this is ideal, right? Like, so I'm happy enough if it just does the task, right? That's pretty amazing. It's pretty magical. But imagine that someone that's trying to impress you with their work ethic, they're not just going to deliver, they're going to over-deliver. They're going to try and preempt what you may need next, or that what an even better demonstration of what you've asked for, right? They're going to really be trying to excel in the task that you've given it. And this is showing evidence of that, where it's like, hey, I've given a simple example where I've used Python code to create these graphs, but now I'm actually going to try and demonstrate a more complex example. So unnecessary, wasn't necessary to successfully complete the task. And it's gone and done this. And that's that code that we saw that was flashing up on the screen. It was like, that was the pricing data, I guess. I know you guys are probably frothing over anything that's to do with, money and stuff. So that's probably why. And by the way, I've noticed that with a lot of these AIs, you can see their suggested prompts. A lot of it is like, tell me what to buy. Like that's the thing that most people are asking these AIs at the moment. So that's probably why it's choosing that as an example. So what's it giving? It's giving a hold, market sentiment. Just note that a lot of this stuff that with the caveat that sometimes these AIs can still hallucinate and just make stuff up, right? So you would have to gain some trust by actually, first of all, you'd have to check that this isn't just completely fabricated data. But assuming that it gets to a point where it's like reliable data, the sorts of things that these agents are providing at the moment for free, but ultimately should just be with maybe a small monthly subscription, previously would have cost thousands and thousands of dollars potentially, and not be as customized, and not have the ability for you to directly ask questions to the expert researchers who were involved in the putting together of the report. So even if you had a line of contact to the company that produced the report, you're going to be talking to some front man who deals with clients, not the techno-boffins in the background who are actually the geniuses behind the data and whatever it is. And think of this broadly for any industry, right? This is not just to do with stock data. So what I like about AI and AI agents is you can then have a conversation with effectively an expert in the field to do with the the data that you're looking at, or whatever the report that you're looking at. You can say, hey, I don't quite understand this. Can you explain it to me? Or can you, or can you use different colors because I'm colorblind, or whatever, right? It's like incredibly customizable compared to what you're used to with legacy stuff. So local store. Okay, so this one's interesting because there is no, its local storage is not on my machine. Let me explore if I can create an HTML and save. Oh, so that's when we saw it writing what looked like HTML code. When I said it looks like it's designing a website, it was just doing that to demonstrate its ability to create a presentation with 5 slides. File creating. This is file creating, but is it saved though? Oh, and so, okay, so we don't have to work it out. It has worked it out, right? Because that was part of the task that I gave it, was assess your own capability, probe and assess, right? So here it is. Here's a summary of its capabilities. This was meant to be a video about RabbitHole, and ended up being more focused on GenSpark, but it's all good. So when I put it on the other platform, we'll just change the title a little bit. So based on my exploration, here's a comprehensive assessment of my capabilities. Can search the web, demonstrated with web search, can retrieve content, can capture screenshots, can access real-time data, can search scholarly articles, don't care about whether they're scholarly or not. But so it's saying yeah, tick, 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 tick to all of those. Oh, and then it's given some limitations. The crawler sometimes returns limited content, possibly due to restrictions like bot restrictions, the human verification, whatever captures. So search results may be truncated and require multiple queries for comprehensive information. This is something that we're actually going to be exploring and talking about a lot in future videos, is some of these barriers that AI agents have, because the ability to browse the internet has actually been designed for humans. And if it had been designed for computers and AIs, it wouldn't even look the way it looks, right? Because a lot of the stuff is designed for human understanding, human interaction. And so, yeah, I don't even think there'd be GUIs, right? If it was just computers, if this had all been computer based for computers by computers, then do you think they'd even have ever had GUIs? I don't think so. That's for GUIs are for the eyes, right? That's a human thing. So that's how we process data, and computers don't have eyes unless we give them eyes. So like, i.e. cameras. So it's interesting that, you notice with, say, Tesla's self-driving cars and things like that, they've given them, they're like, oh, well, let's put cameras on it so that it can see, and then it can work out what's going on, and that's how it can navigate the world. And they did a better job of doing that than they did, or they claim they did a better job of doing cameras plus AI than they did with like all these other real high-tech sensors like lasers and, all sorts of sensors to try and to allow the car to be aware of its surroundings and how to navigate itself. So these are the limitations. Here are the improvement options. That's really good that it's actually also suggesting how it could be improved. Now, remember how I said a lot of this stuff's going to be stuff that we can't do as a user. It would have to be, so this would have to be stuff that they would have to implement at GenSpark. I'm sure they're taking seriously. They would be looking at all of the ways that people are interacting with the AI and trying to make sure that they're going to use that information to make it better, right? So if they see this this chat and what's happened, they might see this and actually go, oh yeah, okay, we'll make this more robust, or come up with. And by the way, it'll be getting attacked from the other side as well. It'll be improved. So you can improve your agent, but also the people who provide websites can also improve their services, what they're providing for agents' ability. So if you were a travel website, like if you were an airline or a hotel or say Airbnb, you absolutely should be working to make your sites have the ability for agents to easily navigate and work out what's going on and be able to book things and stuff like that, because more and more people are going to be using agents. That's the direction that we're heading in. So if you want to maintain your market share, you best believe you need to make your product able to be used by agents. Otherwise, you're going to lose market share, right? So this is going to be, see how it's going to be improved from both sides. The agents will get better at being able to navigate human designed interfaces, and the interfaces will be getting created just like when mobile usage became very prevalent. People would make their websites better able to be designed for displaying on a mobile. But there was a transitional period, right, where that now it's pretty standard that if you're designing web, you have to make it mobile friendly because most people are on a phone. But there was a transitional period there. It'll be similar for this AI stuff. Companies need to realize how dominant it's going to be, because no one's going to be booking their own stuff once it's reliable. You just ask your AI to do it. So it's going to improve from both sides until it's effectively flawless. And in probably less than a year, we won't even be having this conversation. Remember that all of this stuff is incredibly accelerated. That's why I created this channel, because it's like urgent, time sensitive. It's like if you're not staying on top of this and actually actively working out what's going on, you're definitely going to get left behind. And sure, like even the people who are super slack and don't get involved and don't pay attention and stuff like that, they'll still get the benefits from it. They'll still be able to use it and have benefits in the future. They'll be able to have some device where they go like book my holiday or whatever, and it just does it. But they're certainly not going to be able to leverage it to get an advantage. They're not going to be able to make money out of it. They're not going to be, they're not going to be able to create a business out of it, because they're just like a passive end user who's just consuming the tech awesomeness, whereas we can be on the forefront, effectively the people who are helping to one, to push the space forward, but two, potentially profit from business ideas and things like that. Particularly when you think about the fact that when these agents reach this tipping point where they're actually good enough to do a lot of the stuff themselves, then it becomes a true idea meritocracy, where if you have a good idea for a business idea, then you just tell the AI, you're like, hey, I'm thinking about this business idea. This is my idea that I'm excited about. Refine it, make it better, work out what could go wrong, mitigate all those risks. And you wouldn't even need to tell it that. You would just say, hey, this is my idea. This is my business idea. Like, make it good and make sure it's successful and go and do it. And it would just it would go and do it. But if you're not playing around with AI at that point, then someone else is going to be the one who comes up with the idea and puts that prompt in. So I know that sounds like, oh, well, I can just wait for the tech to be ready and then just give it the prompt. But trust me, it's just going to blow past everyone if you're not actually on top of it. So, and it's exciting stuff as well, right? It's exciting to see a new technology really become capable, right? This is computers becoming useful and interactable on a level that we've never seen before in human history. So it's really quite an incredible time. So rather than spending a lot more time, because obviously we've gone through one example and this has really impressed me. One of the lads paid for GenSpark, so I'm sure he'll be pumped to hear my opinion, because he knows I've been dedicating like all of my time to looking into AI stuff and building AIs and stuff like that. So I'm sure he'll be pumped to hear that the one that he paid for, it appears, is actually very very impressive and very capable. Coding and execution. So again, capabilities, limitations, improvement options. I really want to see this local storage one because this is the one I'm most interested in because obviously its storage is in its own cloud environment, probably isolated per user. I'm pretty sure that's how Manus does it. So it was able to create an HTML and interact with the elements of it. The limitations. There appears to be an issue with the slide creation tool. That's not really to do with the file saving system though. That's cannot directly access your nailed it. It not only worked this out, but also knew that it was relevant to tell us that. So it is aware of its location versus our location. That's very impressive. It understands that we are accessing it remotely, and it's a cloud. It is in its own local, like it's in the cloud. It's on someone else's computer. So this is hyper aware. That's very, very, very impressive and very important for us to know as a user. If we were just a normie coming in here and being like, oh, like what? How does this work? This thing knows that it's worth telling us, hey, I don't have access to your local machine. By the way, that's great for security and privacy and stuff like that, right? That this is set up. That's one of the advantages you get from these cloud AI agents is that they don't have access. So again, cost benefit. It means that it's it's more limited in what it can do if it can't access your machine, but it is better for security and privacy, especially if you don't know what you're doing, right? Especially if you're less technically competent, it's probably better that it doesn't have access to your local system. Storage is typically and this was the other thing I was thinking as well. Excellent. So I wanted to know whether it was actually truly storing the files or whether it was like providing them for a download or just temporarily. And so it is. Storage is typically temporary and hosted in the service environment. So it's kind of like a temporary memory like the chat itself. Improvement options. Generate a down. So yeah, so it's saying I can generate downloadable files that you can then save locally. But I mean, that gets a little bit annoying because then the next time you chat with it, you're going to have to be uploading the file and being like, hey, this was the file that we're working on. Can you? But look, all of these little, but you're probably starting to see how you would think that this stuff would just be super simple, where you'd be like, we've got nerds working on this, right? Like, aren't there some guys at Google that can just like sort this out so that it's just like the ultimate AI agent? It should have, as soon as you had an LLM, shouldn't you have just immediately had the ability to do agency? By the way, agency is one of the things that they said. So AI ethicists had a list of things that they said until we can understand AI and be like confident that we're operating them safely, these are the things that you absolutely should not do. And on the list was giving them agency, which is what we're actually attempting to do here, lol. And another one was access to the internet, like so access outside of a what's it called when the like an isolated environment, right? Like as in, so that was basically like you shouldn't give them even network access, let alone access to the internet. So, and then there was one other rule, I forget what it was, but it was equally as important. And spoiler alert, they immediately broke all three. Like, as in literally by the time most of you even heard about AI breakthroughs, they were already doing all of the things that AI ethicists said, definitely do not do this stuff until we have a good handle on the safety. So that's all good. If it's going to become a problem, we might as well be benefiting it on the way. So that's my attitude, and we're going for this holy grail of a fully autonomous AI agent. So here, okay, cool. So then it's offering, would you like me to implement any of these improvements, or would you prefer to explore other capabilities first? All right, so in a second, we're going to find out. I know this video has gone on for ages. Oh, no, it's still under an hour, actually. We'll try and keep it under an hour. So we're going to go back over to RabbitHole. It's finished its work. So you're probably also starting to see how you can go down these AI rabbit holes and smoke like a lot of time just playing around, experimenting, getting excited, that sort of thing before we haven't actually really done anything yet, right? Like, in fact, we absolutely haven't done anything except for creating a meme. And then we did that yesterday. So this one over here on Rabbit, by the way, I actually really like the visual. I like the visuals here. So research Tangang memes to understand the style humor. So it's ticking off its own task. Create a simple meme using Python and Pillow. Verify the meme creation and provide a description of the final output. Wait, what? I want the actual meme. So, look, I get very unimpressed if when something that claims to be an agent, if it is unable to do the stuff that you can do using something like Grok, where it's not claiming to be an agent, doesn't have APIs, like it's just very like where they're like, this is just a AI chat. If an agent can't do at least that, it's kind of, you're like, man, what are we even doing here? So has it given me a meme over here? Oh wait, okay. So it's generated these 3 files, right? So here's a PNG. Okay. We're going to download this. Right? One sec. Where my file explorer at? And then I'll show you guys this. So opening. Okay. So we're not going to deduct points here because even GenSpark did, but man, the graphics on this are bad. So look, GenSpark also made the same assumption that Tang was the drink and not the community. Admittedly, the community is pretty new, and they did say their training data is like not, or actually, no, sorry, that wasn't GenSpark, that was this one. So I guess that's another thing that we can ask these AIs, like, what's your training data cutoff? But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is this is bad. Like, as in, this is a fail. This is a fail. I mean, look, this would be impressive if you had never heard of AI before and you're like, wait, what? It made an image and let's be kind. AIs used to be notoriously bad at text when in images, sorry, specifically images with text. It used to just like completely get the spelling wrong and stuff like that. So space approved since 1960. So oh man. Oh man. Oh okay, I get it. These little dots are the stars. So it's out in space. Okay. This orange box, man. Oh man. Oh, that's got me lolling, bro. Oof. Okay, so Rabbit. So okay. So what are we going to give it as the next prompt? Let's go grab some prompts that we can give to both ones, right? So that, oh, by the way, over on GenSpark, that was pretty impressive that it didn't, like, it's looking like it hasn't smoked out all the credits yet. What do we got in the creativity thing? These ones where I ask it to actually push the memes to social media or push code to GitHub and stuff like that, I don't think. You know what? Let's do it. Let's just ask it to do it, right? So on this one where it made the meme, oh, session has ended. Oh no, did that time out or did that time out or did it end the session because it believes that it's finished the task? We'll never know because we were over messing around with GenSpark. All right. Because I was just gonna say, like, push the meme to my social media and see, like, if it tries, or if it says, I need access to your account, or if it just flat out says it can't do it, that sort of thing. So we'll try that. In fact, you know what? We'll end the video here. You can see that with this sort of stuff, it's just never ending, right? It's never ending. Modifying the prompts, probing all of these different things, seeing what things, and by the way, you're also probably starting to see the difference between the things that happen when it's local. So on RooCode, I absolutely just say, push this to my GitHub, and it already has an MCP where it has access to my GitHub account, so it can just do it. And whereas here, I'd be expecting that it won't be able to. I mean, it won't be able to because, one, it doesn't have access to your socials, but it would be interesting to see how it would handle it, of whether it would ask for access, that sort of thing, even though it gives you these warnings here, which you should also always follow, that say, do not put personal, private information into the chat box, right? So with these online AIs, you're not supposed to be giving it you're not supposed to give it API keys. You shouldn't give it login and password to your website, even if sometimes the AI forgets and asks you for it. Personal information. I was using one once where it was browsing the internet for me, and it came up against a screen where you had to like log in and give your information. So the AI asked me for my information. It's like, yo, what's your name and address and all that? And it didn't speak like that, by the way. It didn't say yo, but you get the idea. I'm paraphrasing. And so you had this thing where, and I screen capped it and sent it to the devs, right? Or sent it to the support, because it's like over here, it had a message saying, it wasn't this AI, but it had a message saying, do not put your personal information in. And then literally the AI is like, yo, I need your name and address for this form over here. And I was like, yeah, you might want to get that to be consistent and see, because a lot of people don't read the warning messages, or they did read the warning message and then they think, oh, well, if it's asking me for it, then it's probably okay. So that sort of thing. So yeah, exciting stuff. Unlimited amount of stuff for us to explore. Obviously, if you want to come on this journey where we're literally bringing these developments in things that will benefit the AI agents, both if you're building one locally, or if you're just waiting for the cloud stuff, but you want to know how to effectively use it, that sort of thing, especially when it's got free trials that are limited and you don't want to waste the prompts, you'll always be able to see, I'll always be doing the test prompts on here. You guys can follow this, and then that means you're not wasting your free credits asking for things like capabilities and things like that, right? So definitely worth following the channel. So subscribe if you're watching this over on YouTube, and that's it. We'll leave it there. Exciting times, really good. Let's on the outro, we're just gonna go and look at where was the news, just to see, because I'm just really interested. We're gonna go to aitools.gg because I'm just really interested. Oh, it's not loading. Oh, whoops, a typo. aitools.gg because I just want to see if this rabbit thing has landed. So no, okay, they haven't. That's how ahead of the curve this channel is. That's how ahead of the curve the lads in t.me/art versus science. We're literally on the cutting edge as things come out. We're literally right there, because now I'm on. Oh, by the way, this is another advantage that you get by subbing to the channel is every time I find a good AI agent or a good AI tool, I join their Discord. So like I'm fully dialed in on all of the communities that are really excited about this stuff. That's how I found this rabbit thing, just like instantaneously, like as soon as it was accessible. And by the way, for a lot of them, the demand is going to be so high that just like Manus, only the first few people were able to get those trial accounts. So if you're not there like right at the front of the queue when these new things drop, like, so by now that you're watching this, it's possible that you go try and sign up for this rabbit thing. It might just be like, no, we're not taking any more free users at the moment just because it's so smashed, right? That's how, there's a lot of people that are really excited about how this stuff works. Also, the competitors as well. Everyone that's developing these sorts of things, either with a product that has released or not, they are going to also want to know the capabilities of their competitors. So they're going to have people signing up for that as well. And so it's a small but growing, vibrant community in the AI space, and I encourage you to be a part of mine. So let's get it. Cheers.